Well, the French government has announced details of its planned pensions reform package. The legal retirement age will remain at 62, but people will be encouraged to stay on longer, with those working beyond that age receiving bonuses. Unions have already said this crosses a red line and makes a mockery of those fighting today. The planned reforms have already sparked mass nationwide protests, with transport disruption entering its seventh day. Well, Prime Minister Edouard Philippe insisted the changes were necessary to replace an outdated and complicated system.
We may disagree on some points, but the government's ambition is an ambition for social justice. There's no hidden agenda. We're not looking for small savings here or there. We don't want to hurt anyone, but on the contrary, to further protect the purchasing power of workers and the purchasing power of retired people today and tomorrow.
Well, earlier I spoke to our correspondent in Paris, David Chazan. He's been following events from Paris and has more on what's been outlined by Edouard Philippe.
Key takeaways, I think, the main points were that first of all, this reform will not apply to any workers currently aged 45 or over. It will be phased in gradually. It will also include a minimum pension of €1,000 a month, which will be introduced from 2022. And the minimum retirement age of 62 is going to stay the same, except that the new system will encourage people to work until about 64, which the Prime Minister said should be the average age. Now, that's considerably lower than in other European countries like the UK or Germany, but public sector workers who are currently entitled to retire in their 50s on very generous pensions are still worried that these reforms will leave them less well off.
OK, so if they're worried that they'll be less well off, do you think this will do anything to appease the protests that have been gripping the country?
Well, judging by the initial reaction from some of the unions, no, because several union leaders have already come out and said that they will continue the strike, that these are only cosmetic measures, minor changes. They still object to the overall plan, and they still want President Macron to scrap the pension reforms altogether.